that's that money talk. That's that money talk. Got a lot of fans, a lot of haters, we just let them talk. Cause them never faces to the paper. What you talking about? The earth will really shaking with this craters that we throwing out, yeah. Came up in the game and gave him mouth to mouth.
Say some more. You got Titty Freedom Hoes. Block his number and meet me up. I will epic kill him, I promise.
What is up, you guys? It's your boy T-Rex back with another video. And today we are talking about the NFL Week 1. So if you're down with that, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn notification on, because you know we like to keep that night gang strong. Let's get right into it. So basically, I just want to do a Week 1 recap. I'll probably do this every week after all the games. So this is just a new thing that I want to start. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go pretty quick. We're going to start with Thursday's game. The Packers versus the Bears. And I watched this game, and let me be honest. It was a pretty boring game to watch for me. Especially especially being the first game of the season. I know they want to do a very big rivalry, and that this is a very big rivalry. But, you know, it was just a very boring game. And the rivalry at this point of where it is now, it's going to be that way. Because, first off, it was a field position game. It was, you know, defense, then who could punt the farthest, who could pin their guys in the position. And, you know, the Packers did that better than the Bears. And also, the Bears' offense is absolutely horrendous. It's terrible. Mitch Trubisky could not move the ball up the field. And when he could, penalties. Back. They're moving backwards. At one point, it was like 1st and 40. And where in a situation, you have to get 4 first downs just to get 1. And they could barely do that in the game. So, you know, it was a pretty boring game to me. But nonetheless, the Packers won that 10-3. The next game, I'll talk about our game because I talked about it yesterday, so it'll just be pretty easy, pretty quick. The Cowboys beat the Giants 35-17. Dak Prescott had a beautiful game, 405 yards, 4 touchdowns. Michael Gallup had a great game. Amari Cooper, everybody. Just a wonderful team job. We kept the Giants to 10 points until the fourth quarter when we put our bench players in. And, you know, just an amazing game. The next game I'm talking about is the Titans versus the Browns. Now, the Browns were very, very, very disappointing on Sunday, just because, you know, they had this hype around them. And, you know, not even a hype that the media put around them, a hype that the fans themselves put around themselves, because they got Odell Beckham. And, you know, they went 7-8-1 last year. And so they put this hype around themselves. And then you go out and lose by 43-13. You can't do that, you know. And I tell the Browns fans all the time, when you put hype around yourself, it puts a lot of pressure on that Browns organization, and we're going to see how you can handle that pressure. And right now, they're not handling it that well. And when you put that hype, comes pressure, comes responsibility, and you got to go out there and win. It's way different when you come off a 0-16 season, and you go 7-8-1, and now you're expecting to be a playoff team. That's way different. It's way different now. Teams are playing you different. They got something to prove against you. Last year, y'all had something proved against other teams. Now teams are proving something to you. So, you know, it's totally different. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Ravens versus the Dolphins. The Ravens absolutely destroyed. Their defense played awesome. Lamar Jackson, perfect passer rating, 5 touchdowns, 2 to Hollywood Brown. Mark Ingram went off, had 2 touchdowns. I believe he had 100-something yards, and just a great all-around game for the Ravens. The Dolphins, I think by week 3, they need to put in Josh Rosen, because Ryan Fitzpatrick did not look well. But you know, that's what you're going to get out of Fitzpatrick. He would probably do great next week, but today he did not look well. And then the next game we got is the Falcons and the Vikings. The Falcons struggled on offense, and that's something you don't really expect to say, because, you know, their offense is always dominant. They still have weapons. They have Devontae Freeman back, who's supposed to be a beast, and, you know, you expected them to do better, put up more than 12 points. The final score was Vikings 28, Falcons 12. The Vikings play a great game. Their defense is awesome. Kirk Cousins only had to throw 10 throws, and obviously they won't win like that every week, but this week they were able to. Dalvin Cook had a beautiful game, and they just went out and came to play. And then we got the Bills versus the Jets, and the Bills started off slow. Okay, they started off real slow. I thought they were gonna lose that game, and but nonetheless they picked it up. Cole Beasley, I gotta mention this because my guy, he put some pressure on himself as well. He caused a pick six, I believe. I believe it was a pick six. He dropped a throw that he should make, or a catch that he should make, bounced off his hands and went to the defender's hands for a pick six. But all in all, Bills, they came back, they rallied back. Their defense played pretty well, and they got that win, a division win, which is big. Then we got the Redskins versus the Eagles. Redskins up by 17 at the half, I believe at the half, and then they just blow it in the second half. They just blow it, and everything crumbles in the second half. They only scored 10 points after that. Their first 3 drives were awesome, and then they just couldn't score. They couldn't play defense. It's like everything just crumbled. And the Eagles ended up winning that 32-27. The Eagles can't play like that. They can't come out slow like that against everybody. They were lucky they were playing the Redskins. If they play us like that, they will get destroyed. We will not show mercy on them. But that was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. Vernon Davis made a heck of a play on the first drive where he hurdled 2 dudes and went in for a score. And then we got the Rams versus the Panthers. And let me tell you, I'm not even going to say Cam Newton doesn't look the same. That offense needs a receiver because Christian McCaffrey played his butt off. But, that offense has no weapons at all. We were looking for a breakout year from DJ Moore. And, more targets going to Curtis Samuel. But, it's just, it's hard. It's hard for Cam Newton in Carolina. So, but, it wasn't a bad game. Rams won 30-27, and Todd Gurley as well. He didn't look the same. He just doesn't look the same since that knee injury. What's his name? Is it Mark Brown? Something like that. I think his name is Mark Brown. He was the main star. Had 2 touchdowns this game, and Jared Goff. He didn't look the same either. He didn't look the same. That offense just didn't look as explosive today or yesterday. So or 2 days ago. But Rams won that 30-27. Then we got the Chiefs and the Jaguars, and let me tell you, for the Jaguars losing their star QB after a touchdown, they stayed in this game pretty well. They lost 40-26. Tyreek Hill went down, of course. I believe it's a shoulder injury. And Sammy Watkins went off. He absolutely went off. And Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. And, what's his name? Minshew, the quarterback. Minshew, he played a beautiful game. He had 2 touchdowns. And like I said, the Jaguars stayed in this game for losing Nick Foles. They really stayed in this game, and I'm pretty sure Nick Foles is out for the season. But, Minshew showed a lot, and they just traded for Joshua Dobbs, so we're going to see how that works. But Minshew really, he came to play, and he was ready. And, he had a very good game. And then we got the Colts versus the Chargers. Now, the Colts, they just lost Andrew Luck, but Jacoby Brissett played a good game. Matter of fact, this game went to overtime, and Jacoby Brissett played a wonderful game. I believe he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But, Phillip Rivers had a great game as well, and so did Austin Eckler. He went off as well. Phillip Rivers had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. But, yeah, the Chargers won that in overtime, 30-24. And Malik Hooker had probably the catch of the year with the one-handed interception. That interception was beautiful. You can't even blame Phillip Rivers for that. Malik Hooker came out of nowhere and said, whoop! You can't even blame him for that. But, that was a good game, and the Colts came out, or the Chargers came out with the W. And then the Bengals played the Seahawks, and, the Seahawks squeaked out with a win. In the last minute, Andy Dalton fumble. They called it a fumble. It didn't really look like a fumble, but nonetheless, they called it a fumble, and that's how they won. John Ross had a beautiful game in AJ Green's absence. You know, some people thought it would be Tyler Boyd like it was last year, but no, John Ross stepped up week 1, and he showed that he's not a bust. And so if he continues to do that, he can show that he's not a bust. But yeah, great game. But the Seahawks came out with the W. DK Metcalf had some touches. Tyler Lockett did too. Chris Carson had a good game, and Seahawks won 21-20. I don't think I said that yet. But the Lions and the Cardinals, the Lions had this game in their hands. They had it in their hands more than once. And they were up 24-6 with about 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And Kyler Murray came out of nowhere and started slinging. He was slinging the ball all game. But he was dotting them up. And next thing you knew, it was 24-24. And, they ended up going to overtime. And in overtime, both teams went for field goals, I believe. And then the Cardinals got stopped. They got stopped. And it's a questionable decision by Kingsbury because if I'm the Cardinals on 4th and 7 with the game on the line, I don't know if I just want to tie. I probably would say we win or lose in this situation. I know that they were at midfield, so it would make it's really win or lose. So I don't know, but Kingsbury, he did make a good decision because Tremaine Brock had a interception in his hands for basically the win. He had an interception in his hands and he dropped it, and the Cardinals and the Lions ended up tying 27-27. The next game we got is the 49ers and the Buccaneers. Jimmy Garoppolo started off slow, threw a pick 6, and then Jameis Winston just had an interception party. I mean, it's time to move on if I'm the Buccaneers. He had 3 interceptions, and he lost this game for the Buccaneers because, it was a close game, and the 49ers were even losing, and this man's just throwing interceptions and making the defense pay. And it's time to move on from Jameis Winston. He's just not it. And then the last game we got on Sunday was the Steelers versus the Patriots, and a lot of people were saying Juju was a top 5 receiver and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. I was like, slow down. He had a great season last year, but we can't forget that Antonio Brown was on the other side. Besides all the nonsense in the locker room, he was terrific on the field. That opened things up for Juju. Nonetheless, Juju had a good game because he was the focus. He had 78 yards on 6 receptions. But they don't have that second receiver that Juju was last year. They don't have that guy who can get open. James Washington, Ryan Switzer. They have one more receiver. I forgot who they have. But they weren't getting open like Juju was last year, like they expected. And James Conner and what's his name? Samuel, they weren't doing anything either. The Steelers got demolished 33-3, and AB was not allowed to play this game, so that was without AB. Philip Dorsett came out of nowhere and had a beautiful game. Josh Gordon had a touchdown, so you can already see just how dangerous this receiving core is. They already showed it in week 1 without AB. And then on Monday, we had a string of good games. The first game was the Saints versus the Texans, and that was a beautiful game. Deshaun Watson led his team down to what looked like was going to be a game-winning touchdown, took a hit and delivered a strike to Willie Snead for a touchdown, and then Drew Brees, the GOAT, Drew Brees led his team 37 seconds on the clock, led his team down the field to give them a 58-yard field goal, and Will Lutz said banger. He said banger. He called game. He had missed, I believe it was shorter than that at halftime. And for the game, he was like, I'm clutch. I got this one. I got this one. And he, even during the interview, he was like, oh, I knew. They asked him if he knew it was in. He was like, oh, no doubt about it. I knew it was in. He knew it. But, you know, that was a great game. I enjoyed watching that. Yeah, Drew Brees, he showed out. But that Texans team is really nice. If you saw Deshaun Watson, he had a bunch of time in that pocket at times. And, you know, them trades really helped them. And then the last game was the Raiders versus the Broncos. And finally, we get some good news on the Raiders instead of something about AB, all right? And the Raiders, they came out and they had something to prove. They shut out the Broncos in the first half. And the Broncos made a little comeback in the second half, but the Raiders played a great game. Really, the Broncos came back after they started coming back after Garyon Conley went down with a scary injury. He had a neck injury, and Garyon Conley, I wish the best for him. I hope he's okay, because last year he had a pretty good season, and I know this year he wants to grow on it. Because I feel like he's a really good corner in this league, and he showed it last year, and he just wants to grow on it this year. So I hope he's okay. I believe he's out the hospital now. It's a serious neck injury. I believe he's out the hospital now, but we'll hear more as time goes on. But the Raiders ended up winning this 24-16. Terrell Williams and Derek Carr had something to prove. The Raiders had something to prove that they could win without AB. And, you know, I was surprised, but if you think about it, they were practicing without AB pretty much the whole summer. So, you know, they were prepared. It's not like, because AB wasn't there the whole time. So they were prepared. That's what Derek Carr was throwing, who he was throwing to in training camp and in practice. So, you know, they were prepared for it. So, you know, just a great all-around effort by the Raiders. And they came out with that W. That's it for this video. I just wanted to recap week 1, all of week 1. And, you know, it was a great week. I can't wait for week 2. Starts in 2 days. I don't know who plays first. I think it's the Bucks and the Panthers. I expect the Panthers to win that game easily, honestly. So, you know, I expect it to be a fun game to watch. Not a good game. Like I said, I expect the Panthers to win easily. But that's it for this video. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it with everybody you know, and hit that notification button, because you know, like, keep that night game strong. Make sure you drop a comment. And I'll see you for another one. So, peace.
Who you with? Shit, Dustin.